Well, hi there, my little yarn goblins and fiber trolls, and welcome back to another episode of At the Table. My name is Christopher. I am Flannel and Pearls, your local neighborhood knitting friend. And if this is your first time here, I want to welcome you in. I want to invite you into this space. Please feel free to come up and pick out a place here around the table with us. You can sit there, you can sit across from me, you can sit over here or over there. The table is round, so there's lots of places for you to just kind of nestle in. You can even sit behind me if you need to, if that's what makes you comfortable. If you're one of those people that likes to sort of hide on the fringes of a crowd, you could sit back there. I'm not going to be able to see you, but that's all right. That's okay. I'll know that you're here, and that's all that matters. This is a space for friends. This is a place that every now and then what we do is we get together and we decide that the noise of the world outside, it's just going to shut off for a little bit. We agree that all the chaos and all the craziness and everything that's happening out there, that stays out there. And in here, what we do is we focus on ourselves. We fill up our own cups and we prioritize doing the things and making space for the stuff that allows us to be the best version of us. Because that matters. You matter. So, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to craft. That's usually what I do. I like to do a little bit of quiet crafting. Today I'm working on a new project that's got me very excited. It's something that I designed myself, and I'm sort of doing a bit of a test run on it. But by no means do you have to do that as well. You could do anything you want. You could knit, you could crochet, you could embroider. I have people who tell me that they just turn this on so that they can go to sleep. And I love that. I will happily be the quiet companion to you drifting off to dreamland. I absolutely adore that. Sometimes people do their chores, they fold their laundry. As someone who desperately needs a podcast in order to be motivated to fold his laundry, I empathize with that greatly. So what matters is that this time is set aside for you to focus on yourself, to slow down, to relax, to maybe pay attention to your breathing. How are your shoulders sitting? Why don't we all just take a second? Actually, this will be nice. Why don't we take a second? Let's take stock. Let's take inventory of our bodies here. Are our shoulders relaxed? Mine are. Okay, cool. Let's roll our necks a little bit. Oh my goodness, that was a loud pop. Let's roll our necks. How about those jaws? Are your jaws relaxed? Is your tongue on the roof of your mouth? If so, go ahead and release it. Let it relax. Let it just sort of exist inside your mouth. It feels a little better already, doesn't it? Listen, that is what this time is for. This time is for winding the clocks back and turning the machines down and saying everything that happens out there, everything that happens outside the parameters of the next hour, that's that, this is this. And I'm focusing on me. So I'm going to play a bit of quiet music because I love to do that. That's my thing. And I'm going to get my project. If this is your first time here and you didn't know that you needed to have a project and you'd like to get one, feel free to go get it. You could crochet, you could knit, embroider, you could do cross-stitching. Sometimes people are whittling things out of wood or they're molding things out of clay. They're doing just some fun little crafting. Sometimes they're just doing sorting. Ooh, I saw someone who was taking this as an opportunity to reorganize a lot of their stuff and put it into nice little pockets and cubbies where it belongs inside of closed cases, which definitely appeals to my brain. I love stuff that goes in other stuff nicely. So feel free to pause it. Go get your wheels, go get your wool, spin some fiber, pause the video, go get what you need, and I'll meet you back here. We'll be waiting. while I get this set up, I always love to take this as an opportunity. Please tell me what you're working on. I absolutely love it when you share in the comments and you tell me everything that you're working on. Is it a crochet project? Are you cross-stitching, embroidering? Are you shaping things from, I don't know, scraps of bits of wood, maybe? I don't know. I saw someone made a birdhouse a while back, and that's neat. I would love a birdhouse. I have so many birds around me. There's a cardinal that lives right outside my window, right here in the office. Right outside of the window, there is a Saskatoon tree, which, if you're not familiar with Saskatoon trees, I forget what the serviceberry, that's the other name for it. I think in Canada, where they are native, it's called a Saskatoon tree, which would make sense. Saskatchewan, maybe. But here in the States, I think oftentimes they're called serviceberries. But there is a Saskatoon tree right over there, right out the window. I can see it from my desk. And there's a cardinal that lives in it. And its call every morning. Sometimes it's a little loud, sometimes it's a little early, but I love hearing it. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to making some bird houses myself. I don't know. Let me know. Have you made birdhouses? I've not made a birdhouse since I was in high school, and it was shop class. So I don't know. But tell me what you are doing. I love to see it. I'm working on this is a project of my own. I am working on a vest. This is a new project that I've got here for myself. It's just made from a little pine cone stitch that I originally used for a pair of socks back a couple of years ago, actually, and I loved the motif so much. And at that moment, I knew I wanted to turn it into something wearable on my torso, like a sweater or a vest or a cardigan. And so I'm finally getting around to doing that. So that is what I'm working on. But what about you? It's May. May is here. It's warm for a lot of us here in the Northern Hemisphere. Are you on to your summer knits? Are you doing lightweight stuff with linens and cottons? Let me know. I just said it's May, but I'm realizing now that May is practically over. Especially by the time this goes up, it's going to be just entirely gone. It just slipped right by. How is it? How has it been for you? Has it been a good May? I hope so. I love May. I love May because you get kind of the best of all worlds. There are going to be some cool mornings and some warm afternoons. Everything is green by the time, well, let me be specific. Where I live here on the lake, I live in northern Illinois, here on the banks of Lake Michigan. And where I am, I get cool mornings and I get some warm afternoons. It's not quite hot enough for summer yet. Like we've had a couple of 80-degree days, but most of our days are still comfortably sitting in the 60 to 70 range. But everything's green. Everything has burst back into life. All of the flowers are coming out. And there's something great about May. I don't know. So I hope that it's been a really pleasant one for you. We planted a whole bunch of flowers this year. For those of you who have been following me on Instagram for a while, you know how much I love flowers, and you might remember last year's absolutely failed and miserable attempt to grow a little flower garden in my little flower plots. I tried. I don't have the greenest of thumbs, but I do have enthusiasm. What I lack in skill, I make up for in enthusiasm, I think. And so this year, instead of trying the flower pots, like the little window boxes, we actually tilled up an entire stretch of, not an entire stretch, that makes it sound very large, but we tilled up a length of our back garden and just planted some catgrass and some foxgloves, marigolds, and sunflowers. And then we got, those packs of wildflower seeds that you just mix with sand and just sprinkle into prepared dirt. You never know what you're going to get. It's just going to be just a randomization of stuff. We got one of those. And so there will be some of those sprinkled in as well. Absolutely no idea what's going to survive, what's going to pop up. But in the last week, it has exploded. It was really low, just kind of like tiny little sprouts in the ground itself. And then seemingly overnight, they're just cropping up everywhere. It was mostly brown, some little speckles of green here and there. And now it's just filled with green leaves. And I know, please don't get in the comments and tell me. I am certain that they're not all flowers. I'm sure that there's weeds in there and clover and grass and other stuff that inevitably made it into the tilling. But there's some flowers, like some of those are flowers, and I can't wait to see them. Are you much of a gardener? Do you have a garden at home? If so, especially if you grow flowers, give me some tips. Do I just leave them alone? Is it kind of just a keep the ground damp and otherwise let them do their business type of situation? Because that is the type of relationship that I enjoy. I enjoy a let it do its own thing type of existence. So I know that there are some gardeners out there. Give me your tips, because I really want this to be a success this year. I worked so hard making the flower plot, and so I just, please. One exciting little bit of new that's happened here is we have a new little kitty that's been hanging around. I say kitty. This is a fully grown cat, but it's one of those things where I feel like all cats are kitties. It's like all dogs are good babies, you know? I infantilize the animals. I can't help it. But Howl has a new friend, and for those of you who are new here, Howl is our little porch panther. Just about a year ago, Howl showed up in our garden, yowling and crying for help. And over the course of the last year, and especially over the last 6 months, Howl has transitioned to being at least sort of like a part-time indoor cat. She hangs out inside. She sleeps here every night, and recently, a new cat has shown up. It's this really just precious little cow kitty, which I didn't know that expression existed, but what a fantastic way to describe the black and white spotted ones. But he is this just sweet, gentle cow kitty with the saddest eyes. He just has these droopy, sad eyes, and I'm going to try to say all of this correctly because I am no expert when it comes to cats, particularly strays. But from everything that I can tell from the minimal amount of research that I've done on the internet, he is a tomcat. I can tell from those jowls that he's got, and clearly also by that he is not neutered. And so I think that's where all of the scars and the markings on his face come from. I think that he's been in some fights. Right now, he is limping. Clearly, his right arm is hurt in some capacity. I can't tell how, but they're not fighting. Howl and this other cat, they are not. They don't seem to have any type of animosity for one another, which is great, because that would put an end to his presence here on the homestead very quickly, because we definitely don't need cat fights happening in the yard. They keep a good distance. They sort of just like let one another exist in each other's circle. I think that's a good way of putting it. But we've been putting food out. We feed him at night. He's showed up every night for the past few now, about a week or so. And I just want to monitor his arm and make sure that he gets better. I've reached out to a local a rescue. I reached out to a local rescue to see, like, hey, do you provide resources for those of us who are looking to protect and sort of capture these stray cats so that we can get them help? And so they have been working with us to help hopefully get a live trap for him so that we can get him over to a vet and we can get that arm looked at, maybe a little procedure as well, just to help maybe stave off more fights. But he's a sweet one. He doesn't talk much. He's very quiet. But he is very gentle. He doesn't run away or anything skittish like that when we approach him. We've not touched him yet. No petting. We just kind of want to give him his space and time. But I will let you know. I will let you know as that develops. But Howl might have a new friend. This vest is actually, it's my second vest. Am I in frame? There we go. This vest is actually my second vest for the year of the vest, which, for those of you who watched a couple of months ago, last month's Flannel and Pod, I kicked around the idea of starting a year of the vest because I love sweater vests or slipovers or waistcoats or whatever you call them. There are lots of names for sweater vests, as I found out. I grew up calling them sweater vests, but I realize now that in other parts of the world they're called slipovers. And I believe that a waistcoat is indicated by having buttons. Like that is that. But this is just a little slipover. I've made one already, and this is my second one. I have to be honest, I didn't love the experience of the first pattern. And so I'm trying to improve on that pattern and also apply my own stitch count and sort of structure to it with this one. And I encourage you to join in. Year of the Vest is fully underway right now. We've got people already participating. You can use any pattern. You can use any yarn. You can use any craft. If you want to sew your vest instead of knit or crochet one, that's fine. You could knit it. You could crochet it. It's just all about the vests. That's what it is. I happen to think that that is an excellent summer project because sometimes you don't want to have an entire sweater's worth of wool in your lap. That's a lot to do in the summer. So this is a nice way of sort of eliminating sleeve island and eliminating some of the wool. It's also a great way of using up some of that yarn that you don't have enough of to make a full sweater. Selfishly, I think that's one of the reasons I decided to start this. So the eventual plan that I have for this particular vest, this pattern, is that I want to do it in a hand spun. What I'm working on here is just, it's just fisherman's wool is what it is, because I wanted something sort of, I suppose, inexpensive, I guess is a good way of putting it. I wanted something sort of inexpensive that I could practice the pattern with. I wanted to make sure that I understood the stitch count, that my estimates of how exactly it decreases around the arms and in the neck to create the V. I wanted to make sure that it all worked the way that I thought it did on paper, in theory, in math. I'm not great at math. It was never my strong suit, ever, but I can modify a pattern. I can do some rudimentary math. And so I figured if I was going to do this out of hand spun, let's save that. Let's be as precious with the hand spun as physically possible and let that be the second version. Let's get I think that in sewing, I think it's called a toile. Toile. Toile, I believe that's correct, where you just make sort of like a rough draft, if you will, out of inexpensive or disposable material. And I have so much fisherman's wool. I have so much. So I figured this was a great opportunity to not only use some of the fisherman's wool, but also, get a little bit of practice in with the pattern. But I already have the fiber purchased. I already bought the fiber because I saw it and I said, that's exactly it. That is what this is that is what this is intended to be made from. And it is this beautiful chocolate brown Corriedale. And you know how browns they can air either warm or they can go cool? Sometimes a brown is a little bit more gray. It has a bit of a gray undertone and makes it sort of desaturated and cool. And then on the other side of that, on the other end of the spectrum, we have browns that have lots of orange in them, lots of red, sort of like a rusty, foxy orange. That's what I wanted. I wanted a dark, rusty brown. And I found it. So I bought every single gram that they had, and it's just sort of stored back there in my craft room at the moment. And so as soon as I know what I'm doing with this pattern, then it's just a matter of spinning as close to the same WPI as this as physically possible. Because then I'll know the yardage, I'll know the stitch count, and I should be set up for success. Theoretically. Sitting here and thinking about spinning the fiber for this. This whole time I've just been thinking of that brown Corriedale that's just waiting for me. And I have to say, spinning has completely taken over my life. I was warned that it would happen. And it did. It is just, and I welcome it. I bring it in with open arms and an open heart. There is room enough in my home and in my heart. Maybe not in my day, but there's room enough for both knitting and spinning. And I'm amazed at how quickly it sort of just enveloped itself into my life. that I have a spinner now. I have drop spindles. I have so much fiber. I've got a wheel. I've got a beautiful new Magicraft rose that I don't know. There's something so special about it. It feels like an heirloom piece that's been in my home forever. Do you ever have that where you acquire something special and new, and as soon as it enters into your home, you're like, you've always been here, haven't you? Like the space for you was always meant for you, and now you fill it. There's just this, I don't know, it's like a missing Lego piece that just snapped into place. And I adore it. I really do. It's such a different way of relaxing and allowing my brain to meditate, to slow, to think and consider what I'm doing. And what I find really fascinating is the very thing that a lot of people struggle with when they're talking about spinning. You know, you can't rip back a spinning project, right? You know, if you're spinning and the single happens to get away with you, or away from you rather, it's not like knitting or crocheting where you can just rip back the problem section and go back and do it again. I mean, I suppose you could just, pull that part of the single off, but there's a very quiet humility to spinning that you kind of have to coexist with your wool. You have to allow it to be a part of the conversation and relinquish some of that control to it. That you're a partner in that project. And I think that it's fantastic. I really do. I know that some of you watched the video a couple of weeks ago that I posted with Tashi here on my channel, and I hope you loved it. I absolutely loved having Tashi here over from Stitches and Starlight, a truly skilled and gifted spinner. I know that not everything is a matter of talent, where someone just has the ability to do something, particularly when it comes to spinning. That's a developed skill. It's something that you teach yourself or are taught over time. And Tashi has definitely put in the time and effort to become a beautiful spinner. And I loved having them on. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to watch that video yet, I'll link it. I'll link it here for you so that you can pop on over and spend some time with us. But it was fantastic to have them here and spend a little bit of time at the table. now that summer is almost here. Like we're almost at summertime. It's nearly here. I feel like it's close enough that I can say that it's almost summertime. I think that that starts in June, right? It's at the end of June, I believe. But I keep thinking about all of the wool festivals that are coming up. And now that I spin, now that I have so much more knowledge, so much more experience, so much more just insight into the world of wool production and how it's utilized in spinning, I am amped for it. I think I'm going to get a fleece. Maybe not a whole one. Maybe I'll just get a half, but I think I'm going to get a fleece. I'm going to learn how to wash it and scour it, clean it of its little bits and bobs, separate out the good locks from the seconds. And why not? Right? Like, why not? Why not add that extra layer to the experience? I remember last year when I went to both the Michigan and the Wisconsin wool festivals, I saw the fleeces in their giant trash bags, and I thought they were so interesting, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you look at, and because you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to approach it or clean it or what on earth you'd do with it, even if you got it, it was kind of one of those, that's nice. I guess I'll come back to that someday. And so I think this year, I think that's in my cards. I really do. I know that Tashi is already preparing multiple fleeces in preparation for our Tour de Fleece, which I don't know if you're coming along for that. I hope that you are. If you're a spinner and you would like to join our team, we talk about it in that video that I mentioned. Signups are still open. You're welcome to join our team. There's a link below for that. But I know that Tashi has been hard at work scouring and prepping fleeces for Tour de Fleece because it starts on the 29th of June and continues through the 21st of July. So that's coming up. That's coming up. I will not be doing a fleece. That's not going to happen for me personally. I'm just going to do some combed top that I've already got. I have like 6 of them. I'm not going to get through all of them. That's a lot, but I'll get through as many of them as I can. Tashi and I are going to be spinning for our night shift shawl. So that's what I'm going to be working on. But if you'd love to come along, I'd love for you to be there. We've got a little theme going. It's called Summer at Camp Wooligan, which the purpose of that was really just to dig into those wonderful, warm, nostalgic feelings of a mid-century summer camp, of sleeping underneath the stars and telling stories by the firelight. We wanted to just kind of invite everybody to take a seat by the fire, grab a drink, get some cocoa if that's what you'd like, maybe pop a marshmallow on the end of a stick and just spend some time together, relax, and enjoy the stars. So if you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. We actually have merch, which is crazy. I cannot believe that I'm now a merch person, but I pushed for this because I wanted a shirt. I was selfish. It was my intention. I was like, I want a shirt. I want to be able to wear Camp Wooligan. So that is still open as well. There's a link below. Feel free to participate if you'd like. We'd love to have you. We really would. So feel free to sign up all the way to the point that Tour de Fleece starts. So you got a whole month still. I think this is going to be my last round. So when I finish this, I think I'm going to call it quits for the day. But by all means, you just keep on going. We've got a little bit still. Okay, I am just about done. This is one of those patterns that I don't know if you've ever done one like this, where the first round sets up the pattern and then the second round continues it. And so it's a 2-row repeat. You change the stitch on the first round and then you repeat that change on the second. And the first round, I have to be so meticulous. I have to really hone in and concentrate and make sure that I'm setting myself up, because on the next one, I'll just do it. Like whatever the stitch is, I'm just going to continue it. And I won't find out until 2 rows later that I made a mistake. So I have just been flying through this second round and I am almost done. And that makes for an excellent stopping place. No sense in getting the first row done if I don't plan on doing the second one immediately thereafter. All right. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. Isn't that charming? Just little pine cones. Let's see if I can get close up. Hold on. I love it. It's just such a warm and inviting motif. It's going to be perfect for the autumn, I think, which is why I'm getting started on it now, because I know that I'm not gonna want to get started on the project in the autumn because I have to spin for it and then I'll have to knit it. And so I'm doing the hard job of getting all of my pre-work done seasons in advance. So I think that I'm gonna take a break. I've got both of those rounds of that pattern done, and then I just get to start with the next one. But listen, just because I'm done for the day doesn't mean that you have to be. I want you to keep on going for as long as it makes you happy, for as long as it fills you up, for as long as peace allows. And so if that's just as long as this video lasts, fantastic. I think that's wonderful. If it's longer, if you're going to go watch more videos, great. There are lots of great creators out there that you can watch. I've got a backlog of videos you're welcome to watch as well. What matters is that you take the time you need to fill yourself up. Because you matter. There's only one of you in the world, and we need you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for choosing to take time out of your day to take a seat at the table and spend it with us. As always, my name is Christopher. I am Flannel and Pearls, your local neighborhood knitting friend, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for spending time at the table with me today. If you would, please give this video a little like and hit the subscribe button on my channel. I know it seems silly, but those two little actions go a long way to help new creators like myself find and grow their audience. If you'd like to share your viewing experience on your own social media platforms, please tag me. I absolutely love seeing the stories of y'all watching and crafting along. It really makes my day. So you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Substack, and Patreon at Flannel and Pearls. And an absolutely massive thank you to my Patreon subscribers this month. Your support means the world to me, and I don't take that for granted. To watch ad-free versions of my videos, access behind-the-scenes footage, exclusive vlogs, playlists, and more, check out the link for my Patreon in the caption below. As always, take care of yourself, my friends. I'll see you next time.